Napoleon, the new Ridley Scott film, now out. Let's talk about it. So, Ridley Scott's new movie, Napoleon, is now out on the big screen for you guys to go and check out. Ridley Scott is a director that I've absolutely loved over the course of my life. He has made some of the absolute utmost top tier cinema movies of all time. He created a franchise in Alien with that first movie that I absolutely adore. He gave us Gladiator, which I absolutely adore as well. He gave us that recent one, The Last Duel, which I absolutely loved as well. He also gave me one of my favorite movies of all time, The Martian. So this is a guy that has just completely delivered majority of it. I'd say probably about 90% of the time he has delivered when he does a movie. Now, Napoleon was a movie that I was excited for because of Ridley Scott, because Joaquin Phoenix was starring in it, and because the trailer looked absolutely fantastic. And I love some historical stuff where we go in and we dive into those stories and tell them. And when you get talented film makers like Ridley Scott, like Martin Scorsese, like Christopher Nolan, like Tarantino, who can bring these to life in such a way that is just blows your mind. I mean, we already had Oppenheimer this year from Nolan, which was absolutely fantastic. Then you had Martin Scorsese's Killer of the Flower Moons, which was absolutely fantastic. So why not make it 3 from 3? And look, Napoleon, for me, is a movie I did really enjoy. While I enjoyed it, it does have its flaws as well. And one of the main issues I have with this film is the pacing of this film. Somehow, I don't know why, but Ridley Scott has made this movie feel a lot longer than Killers of the Flower Moon and a lot longer than Oppenheimer, which are both movies that are way longer than this movie. This movie is 2 hours and 38 minutes long. So obviously Oppenheimer's 3 hours and Killer Flower Moons was 3.5 hours basically. So somehow this felt longer. And that to me, it did feel like it was dragging on. I was like, there's some scenes in here that I feel like Ridley Scott could have cut out and really taken out of this movie to make it flow a bit faster and to, I get why he's trying to do it, but at the same time, it really does hinder this film a lot. And I feel like that's going to sway people away from going to see it is because of how poorly paced it is. Another thing that I didn't particularly like was the jumping from different timestamps constantly. And I understand you're trying to tell this story from when he first comes up to his end, but at times it's very jarring because you're watching it and then 1 minute you're like, okay, so we're in this moment, and then next thing you know, bam, it's been like a time skip has happened, like a year or something like that, and you're kind of like, okay, it sort of feels disjointed. I feel like I'm missing a bit of information here, maybe. And I feel like that just hinders it a bit as well. But outside of those things, I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this movie a lot. And just look, I know nothing is going to be 100% hysterically correct. Like, you're just not going to make this 100% authentic to history. This isn't a documentary. This is a movie about this. So you take elements. Obviously, it's going to be embellished in certain, parts and stuff like that. It's not a full 100% retelling. So whether or not it is what it is, I don't care if it's not 100%. But the story itself is very much engaging. The character of Napoleon himself is a character that you go on this journey with that it's full of tragic stuff that happens to him. And at the same time, you sort of see in his mind what his motivation is as you progress in his life. You see where he's come from and what his ambitions are and what he is willing to do for his country. And I thought that was so engaging. And Joaquin Phoenix was absolutely superb. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is great in everything he is, but he was absolutely superb. And it's kind of insane to think that we could have a 3-way battle this year at the Oscars with Joaquin Phoenix up against Cillian Murphy, up against Leonardo DiCaprio. And that is just insane to think about that going in 1 year. That could be potentially 3 people going at it. That's just absolutely insane to me. But his performance was absolutely fantastic. And I felt like he brought the presence that you needed when Napoleon. Because Napoleon in stature is not a big dude. He is very short. So to be able to make a person feel like that on screen, to feel the present, to feel like when he's in the room that no one wants to mess with this guy, even though he's like this tall. No one wants to mess with him. And I thought Joaquin Phoenix brought that out in Napoleon and made you feel that aura every time he was on screen. Like, this is a guy that is got the respect of everyone and like commands the scenes. And it's absolutely phenomenal. Vanessa Kirby. Wow, what a performance from her in this movie. She is absolutely superb. She is so good, man. This just shows you her range. We've seen her in some of the action movies of late. We've seen her in the Fast and Furious movies. We've seen her in, other movies coming up. But this is the one that I see her, and when she's performing, going, wow, this is a very talented actress who has a huge career ahead of herself. She could have an Oscar or two on her mantle when she's done, because she was absolutely superb, bringing Josephine to life. And that emotion that she brought to the screen was so powerful. There's one moment where they're sitting on the couch, where you see in the trailer, where she's talking about, "You're nothing without me." That scene alone, when she is performing that, you feel the aura on her, the power she possesses over Napoleon, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And I was just like, whoa, this is something special. These performances are something really special. So that was all great. The cinematography, I mean, it's just gorgeous. This movie is absolutely stunning. When you're watching it, the big battle sequence at Waterloo was absolutely phenomenal. That whole, you could feel every bit of it, the way that it was shot. You could feel the whole tension of this battle. Could feel the bodies dropping. It was just absolutely superb. Then there was the other battle that happened in the snow, and you had the icing. You see it in the trailer. That was shot insanely, especially from underneath, with the water and the blood coming down and the people going in. Wow. And it just showed you the way that it was shot shows you the full impact of these battles, the full impact of how many lives were actually lost during this period of Napoleon's reign. It was absolutely phenomenal. Just the shots were just absolutely gorgeous. The score was great as well. I really enjoyed that. I thought it added the elements that needed to be added to the particular scenes, of like the sadness that you're trying to get that emotion, the fear emotion, the battle itself, enhancing every single moment. The sound design is absolutely great, and I'm so glad I saw this on IMAX. It is just wow, just absolutely beautiful. But the costume design as well, like, we got to give it up to the people who designed the costumes. I felt like I was back in those days. I felt like, yes, this was the right time period. And just everything about this movie, I really enjoyed. So, look, Napoleon for me, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I have those first few things that I, didn't quite, the pacing could have been better. And the jumping back and forth, the time skips and that kind of gets jarring a bit, as you progress in the film. But overall, really enjoyed this film quite a lot. So let me know what you guys thought. Did you guys love Napoleon or not? Smash it down there. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.